Hey there, I'm Terrie, and I'm the intuitive healer for folks who have anxiety and want to access their soul evolution and intuition. There's more than meets the eye here as we chat and hang out in these episodes that have spiritual, esoteric, multidimensional, somatic, quantum techniques, tools, and tips to help you get unstuck and move you forward in your day-to-day life. So join me in discovering your path to help you clear anxiety of the past, align your energy to the present, and create your new future. Well, hello there, and how is that beautiful, wonderful, dynamic heart of yours? I hope it's well. I hope it's fantastic. I'm coming to you because I was inspired by a teaching. So I learn Arhatic yoga. I study Arhatic yoga. And there's so many teachings and they go so deep. And one of them in one of the prayers and one of the meditations is about how we ask the divine, God, goddess, source, creator, whoever you believe in, whatever your higher power is, for compassion and mercy, because we are always evolving and we make mistakes. And I kind of thought a little bit about, oh my goodness, like what are the mistakes that I'm making right now? And obviously, in order to be able to know the mistakes you're making, you have to have an awareness of yourself and an awareness of where you are in life. And obviously, the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And how did I get to where I am now? That's obviously a rhetorical question, right? So where did you come from? And so often we sit in this space of we're screwing up, right? So we have the awareness that we're screwing up, right? But are we doing anything about the fact that we're screwing up? So it's like, okay, I understand. I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Because as humans, we have patterns. I mean, we were raised certain ways by certain families, by certain histories, by certain cultures, right? And that is going to have an effect on our point of view and our lifestyles and our opinions and our esteem and worthiness, right? So I'm sitting here listening to this lecture and I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, I can see where I am sort of screwing up or where I'm having challenges. That's a really great way to sort of see like what areas of my life do I need to work on? And yeah, it seems so obvious, but have you taken the time to sit there and have that mindfulness and that awareness of, well, these are the challenges that I'm having in my life right now, right? And so that is a reflection of the gap between where I am and where I want to be. And oftentimes what we do is we will beat ourselves up for that existing gap. Right? But is it our fault? Most of the times, the triggers or, the experiences or the traumas as human beings that we've had and the energetic imprints that they've left in our auric fields are not our fault, especially when we're kids, right? We come into this world, we don't have manuals, we don't have directions, we don't have guidelines. Our family, our caretakers are supposed to be the ones to do that. Give that to us, guide us, and they often weren't necessarily given the best instructions either, right? That's where ancestral DNA kind of sort of comes in on one level, right? So we're sitting there beating ourselves up for this gap. But do we consider that gap, and it doesn't matter what area of your life, it could be in romance, it could be in health, it can be in finance and career, whatever, friendship, doesn't matter. Are we, wow, I just lost my train of thought. This really sucks because it was right there. That gap, oh, I just got it back. Thank you, Team Terrie. That gap, I feel like we need to consider that gap is where our soul, our higher soul, not the lower self, not the entangled part of the physical world and physical reality, but our higher soul, that's where I feel like it could be that our higher soul is asking for that evolution for that part of ourselves. And a lot of times these struggles that we're having, they're chronic, right? They've been there forever. So maybe, for example, something like if you have money anxiety because you're not making enough money and you have, this terrible, horrible, like scarcity mindset. If I spend money, I will never get that money back. And then I'm going to not have enough money for survival and I will die. So therefore, I cannot do A, B, and C. When the reality is technically you're not broke. You have the money for it, right? You just don't want to spend the money. Right? So you might sabotage and block your blessing in that way, right? But there's a gap, right? The gap is the thought that I don't have enough, or I can't do this right now. And where you want to be is there's plenty of everything. I'm going to be okay. My needs will be met, even if I don't know how, right? So that gap where all those fears exist, that gap where all of those thought forms exists, those beliefs, those tendencies, those behaviors, the feelings, right? Because once again, the higher soul will use your human, right, as a way of experiencing itself. So it needs you to evolve that part of itself, right, to help close that gap. And that's the higher soul that is needing that evolution, right? So our tendency really is just to beat ourselves up about it. It's the human side of us. That's when we're so entangled. We so identify with the physical world reality. Like, I only have this much money in my bank, right? So we see that and we're like, that's reality. And if we stick to what we actually see, there's no room for blessings to come in to like grow that number that we see, right? And it happens on such a subtle level because the subconscious mind is the creator of our experiences, right? So being able to see where we're screwing up, even though technically, are we really screwing up? Not necessarily. We're experiencing, right? But we're going to go ahead and we're going to beat ourselves up. We're going to put ourselves down. We're going to be really mean to ourselves. We would not be this mean to other people as we are to ourselves, right? So we're sitting here and we're going, this is where I'm screwing up. I'm screwing up. I'm screwing up. But really the power point or the tipping point or the momentum change in the flow of energy becomes, am I going to do something about it? Because your higher soul is calling for that evolution, right? That's when you are in that place of awareness and you're in that place of mindfulness, like when you're able to take the mindfulness step and sit there and assess, right? But what are you going to do about it? So, okay, you're having no problem being accountable for it. I'm screwing up. I'm a terrible person. I'm this, I'm that, whatever, right? That judgment. But what are you doing about it? And that's the tipping point. That's the change in momentum that's being offered. But are you going to take that offer? Are you going to do something about it? See, we can sit here and we can be aware of all of these problems, and that doesn't help us. So these aha moments that we have, this is why I'm like this. This is why da 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 da. Great. Oh, kudos to you. Fan-freaking-tastic. But just because you know about something doesn't mean you're going to stop the screw up. Again, remember your point of view, the way you view your life, the way you actually live your life, the way you're using your body, your mind, and your heart. That is being directed from the higher soul. Right? So your higher soul is creating all of these opportunities for your human to evolve it, the higher soul. Now, the higher soul will not care and does not care how long it takes until that gap closes, until that evolution happens, because our higher souls, that divine part of us, has no expiration date. It is infinite. So it will take on a human earth suit over and over and over again, and each time it can help close that gap. And so it's evolving itself. Now, the human known as you, so my human is known as Terrie. Your human known as you is the one that has the body, it has the thoughts, it has the feelings, so it can be the tool for that higher soul to close that gap. But the human has an expiration date, right? And the human will get entangled and identify with physical reality because it is a physical being. And so therefore the pressure of having to close that gap, of having to stop screw up will be there. And it's there. You can feel it when you give it attention, when you honor it, which is that mindfulness and that awareness, right? So the question becomes, are you going to do something about it in this lifetime? Screw past lifetimes, screw future lifetimes. What are you going to do for your higher soul right now, in this now moment, in this lifetime? Because you're still cleaning up messes from the past, but do you need to worry about that? Do you need to think about that? Do you need to analyze that? No. Because if you can clean up your mess, if you can fix mistakes, if you can change your momentum, if you can change your thoughts, your feelings, and your responses, behaviors, actions, now you are evolving your higher soul. Now, it doesn't look pretty. It does not look pretty. It's not a pretty experience. But you're doing something about it. You are collapsing time when you're doing something about it. You're closing that gap between where you are and where you want to be. That where you want to be part is your higher soul telling you you deserve to have A, B, and C. You deserve to have that abundance, that material prosperity, right? You got to figure out your why. your why will oftentimes trigger you into having that motivation that you need, right? Because you need motivation and inspiration, not just inspiration. Inspiration is calling, motivation is action. And I don't care how you view spirituality. Spirituality is about doing. It is not just about being. Right? So, where are you screwing up in your life? Recognizing that you're screwing up, but not being so hard on yourself about the fact that you're screwing up. Reframing it to it's a soul calling. Your soul is calling you to evolve that part of itself. You are the being that's able to do that for your soul. But doing something about it. Stop sitting on your tush. Change doesn't happen long term if you're just sitting there talking about things. True change happens when you start doing things differently. And most people fear change because people like us who are spiritual empaths, who really feel things deep and hard and who are extremely sensitive, we think we need to get it done all right now, right here. But that's the anxiety lying to us, right? We don't have to. It's called evolution. It's not called doneness right here, right now. It's evolution. And that's what gives you your human experience here. This is what creates you as whatever your person is called, right? So there's the law of cycles and the law of change and the law of cause and effect. And what are you doing? What responsibilities and accountabilities are you taking to help your higher soul evolve? Because nothing changes unless you change. And so the question becomes, are you really screwing up? You're only really screwing up if you have the awareness and the mindfulness and the knowingness of what you're doing and you continue to do it over and over and over again by complaining about it. Right? Stop complaining and then you stop screwing up. You stop the mistakes. Have that compassion for your human. Right? Have mercy on your human. It is not easy to be human. It really isn't. People get upset with me when I say one of the hardest things to do is be human. But there is so much to experience, right? But the fear of having to do it all right now is where the sabotage comes in, and it's where we end up blocking our blessings. So it's not about how much change and how fast we can be in action on something. It's about taking action. It's about continuously moving forward. It's about baby steps, but doing, not talking about it. So what can you do for your human? One thing every day. And sometimes you might even notice that one thing can turn into 3 or 5 things in one day that you didn't even realize plan or realize, what would happen. And then you end up being like super, super productive with your human. But that's not what you're trying to do. All you got to do is be in action on something that's going to make you feel better every day. Right? That's when you stop making mistakes. You stop making mistakes when you start doing something about it, instead of sitting in the energy of it. All right? this all came up for me through this prayer, It's like we're all evolving, we're all changing, we're all growing, we all make mistakes. And it's actually good to make mistakes, you guys. It's good to make mistakes. When you draw yourself out of the entanglement of your identification as a human, you can really, really, really see and feel and experience that the mistakes are the breadcrumbs of the soul. What do I need to do next? Where do I go next? How do I do this? All right. So be kind to yourself, be compassionate, have mercy, but do something about it. Don't coddle yourself either. Don't coddle yourself. You won't get anywhere. You have to find that balance of both, right? That's how you close that gap. That's how you evolve your soul. That's how you collapse time. Every day, consistency, consistent action. Every day, something, action. Again, it doesn't have to be so big, so consuming. That's gonna sabotage you. That's you what's the word? Enabling. It's you invoking. It's you provoking your human survival coping skills and mechanisms. You got to move past them, and you move past them through action. Little, tiny, baby steps, bite-sized pieces. That's how you close the gap. All right. So find that compassion, that mercy, be kind and be nice to yourself when you find yourself beating yourself up, and take an action. That's what you do. And you it. You realize, oh, I'm making a mistake. Oh, I can see what's happening. Oh, this is not helping me. And I'm going to pivot. And I'm going to do something different. Do something different, right? You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to move forward in life unless you do something about it. Stop complaining. Do something about it. All right, you guys? So take care of that wonderful, beautiful heart. That heart is your North Star, right? It's going to be your connecting tool to everything outside of you. Okay? So take care of your heart. Activate that crown. That crown is the divine spiritual aspect of yourself, so that you can plug yourself in to the divine source, right? To God, creator, whoever. So you activate your crown, you open your heart, and that's the recipe for manifestation and materialization and evolution and growth, right? And as, so often I'm recording these thoughts or whatever as podcasts or whatnot. And what they actually end up doing is being a reminder to myself. So as I'm sharing this with you, I'm also reminding this to myself, right? Because personally right now, I feel like I'm doing, and it's because I realize that what I was doing before, how I was behaving or acting, or the lack of action from before wasn't getting me anywhere. So now I'm like, okay, let's move this. Let's go forward. Can't do anything about the past. I can only do something about right now. So you know what? Pivot, acknowledge, and move forward. All right? All right, you guys. Take care of that heart. Stay connected. Talk to you soon. Well, our time in this now moment together has ended, but another now moment is on its way. Thank you so much for joining me in this human journey and listening to this podcast, The Portal with Terrie Huberman. I sure hope you're getting something out of it. I'm here to help you clear anxiety from the past, align your energy into the present, and help you create your future. My prayer for you is to find the peace and calmness in any given now moment so you can recognize when blessings are afoot and you get to choose your next adventure. Be curious and stay connected. You can always find me at terriehuberman.com. Bye now.